Welcome back to the shed, and another oldie here from the 80s this time, very 80s. Bush four-way speaker thing, not four-speaker two-way. Most of the sound comes out through these, which are 3.5-inch jobs. There are little crystal speakers up here, but they don't really do much, do they? And then you've got a mic both sides of it there. Now, I found this thing on the bins a couple of weeks back, I think it was, and the FM radio thing, well, it's very, very, very weak. They do come in, but they don't come in loud enough, and nothing like loud enough to light up the FM stereo. There's obviously something amiss there. And you've got a 3-band radio, long, medium and FM here, FM mono and stereo, radio tape and sleep there. Now, why they put these sleep things in, I just don't know really, because the idea was that you tune to your favourite radio station, put it into sleep mode, put a tape in it, press play, and the radio would then play until the tape finished. But judging by the bang that this particular one makes when it turns off, it'll wake you up. Let me put it that way. Now, big problem with the tape deck on this one was that it's gear driven, like a lot of the early Philips ones were in the early 80s, you know, the boom boxes that they came out with then. But thankfully Bush, and this was made in Taiwan, used much better quality gears to a standard tooth pitch, and they're the same sort of thing you can buy in the model shop that does radio controlled cars, that sort of thing, or you find it in plastic toys. So finding a couple of gears for it wasn't a problem, thank heavens. The belt, however, had done a Phillips and gone to goo, so and somebody had been in there before me and put one on there that was far too small. The motor was labouring away trying to pull it, and it couldn't. So, suitably cleaned up, decent belt in it, new playhead in it, 2 new gears, all oiled up and everything, so it's now working as it should. At least it'll play a tape nicely. Up here you've got volume, tone and balance. Desperately needs a new volume control because it is scratchy. The rod aerial isn't broken off, and as you see, it stays where you put it. It doesn't sort of drop down obstinately all the time. Now, on the side here, sockets for 2 microphones, miniature sockets admittedly, 5-pin DIN plug, because this was aimed squarely at the English market and UK, because it's long wave thing on there, and then full-size headphone socket, and then the monitor switch. Now, this was used when taping from the radio, and it had to be on in order to tape from the radio, or you wouldn't get any sound through at all. And very often you'd only get 1 or 2 preset sound levels on there, and that was it. So you couldn't even turn it down or up, unlike the later sets where you could pop a tape in it, press play and record, and your volume control wouldn't affect the quality of your recording, which usually was crap, wasn't it? Thanks to the automatic level. Now, this is an AC bias tape deck, and I know this because of this little oscillator switch, sometimes called a beat cut switch. And when you got those birdie sounds coming through when you were taping from the radio, usually on AM, it was often because the AC circuit that fires up the erase head in there and gives it its very thorough erasing capability, so that when the sound head records the new signal on, it's nice and clear. And the frequencies would clash between your radio station and that, so you get a birdie whistle sort of sound, and very often you get rid of it by simply pushing that so that it was on. Sometimes it didn't make bugger all difference, so oh dear. Oh yes, the joys of old kit. And then on the back you've got there the model number, obviously 6280, made in Taiwan, believe it or not. Run it on 6 HP2 batteries now called D cells. The contacts in there are beautiful. They're not at all rotten or rusty. See for yourself, there's never been a set of duff batteries left in there, and that's what we like to see, isn't it? Or you can run it there on a 9-volt DC adapter in here. Two 2-pin DIN speaker plugs there for extension speakers. Quite a common thing. And then obviously your mains power goes in through the usual figure of 8 plug. Unlike that old Sanyo there, the lead can be detached from it. But something slightly odd about this tape mechanism, it must have been quite an elderly one, because there's no pause control. And even the Sanyo there from, I think it was 1985, has twin decks. They've both got their own motor, by the way, which is quite unusual towards the end. But they've both got a pause control. This old thing doesn't. As you can hear, not a bad sound really, you know, it's quite impressive for what it is. And the last thing, of course, little tape counter down there. I haven't tried recording on this, haven't really got round to that yet, but the long wave and medium wave appear to work well enough on the radio. But as for the FM, well, who knows what's the matter with that, because I certainly don't. Radios aren't really my forte, shall I say, you know, but oh well, I might find something with it, you never know. But what I have done recently is to look into the eBay thing, and I'm nearly ready to roll, shall I say. So I expect it'll just be called AG3304's eBay, so make it easy for you to find, wouldn't it, if you want to. So, because I've got so much stuff here, it's just ridiculous. And well, just look around you, but there's stuff everywhere, isn't there? And this is just the shed. I don't know, that turnout in France is funny, isn't it? I always get very, very suspicious when the media keep bombarding you, saying that somebody who's British has come to grief in a foreign country, because you know damn well they're no more British than this set is. And sure enough, they turned out to be ragheads, Iraqis. God, gives me the shivers just thinking about it. Particularly because we just passed 9/11, of course, and you know I was on duty on the railway when we had the turnouts in London, and I've never seen so many frightened passengers in my life. It's not something anybody would ever wish to go through again. You know, even if you didn't suffer any sort of injury from it. But I've never seen so many frightened passengers in my life. And London, usually enormously busy when I pulled in with my rush hour service that morning, was just, well, it was as if there'd been a nuclear bomb. There was just nobody about. Most disconcerting. But yeah, whoa, heebie-jeebies time. Anyway, back to nicer thoughts. Stick with the vintage audio. That's the best bet, isn't it? Bury your head in the sand and pretend it isn't all happening. Well, that's what the politicians do, and if it's good enough for them, then it's bloody good enough for the rest of us, eh? I know what I'd like to do with a few of them. Yeah, well, try the whole lot. Anyway, see you soon.